All right, I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed it, Pressure Points with your two favorite hosts. I'm D, and this is my 10:30 p.m. coffee drinking AJ. We're coming at you with Season 5, Episode 14, The Best Tuberculosis. It's a World War II episode, but this time, it's mine. So find us on Instagram and Twitter, @PointsOPressure, and get ready, cutie pies.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
I did it. I figured it out. I
figured
out the intro timing.
I thought you figured out how to not come over to my place until 10:30. Usually it's me keeping us up this late.
Yeah, no, it's me this time. It's definitely been me today. Dragging my fucking tootsies, taking my time. It's been a writer's block of a day, so strap in for what could be one of our shortest episodes yet.
No, and that'll be the episode for tonight. Thanks for coming in.
Tying it up,
thanks to our
minute
Patreons.
20.
Yeah. All
right. So, how was your week?
Oh, fuck, what did I do this week? So I'm in finals.
Talk about your stuff without violating any HIPAA laws, Go for it.
Oh, yeah. So we're almost in finals. I just did my last clinical.
Oh, thank God.
I was in the memory unit.
Yeah. Ooh.
I got lots of dementia patients. Some very confused, some very sad cases, some very they are just living life.
Oh, I'm sure.
Turns out I'm a teenage heartthrob.
Oh, is that so?
For all the old, demented women.
Because they don't remember what a good-looking man looks like.
Exactly. And all the, so many, the majority of the CNAs and the nurses and the workers are women.
Oh, I see.
I was one of two men on the entire ward for that day.
Oh.
So they're like, one lady, I helped pick her up, and she said,
piece of ass.
Oh, yeah. And normally she'll punch the people helping to stand them up. Mm-hmm. Just punch you.
Yeah, just give them a couple of gut shots.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
What I would do.
But I went and I helped kind of pick her up, and she was, "Ooh, you're warm." And I just the person who was helping me, the person I was following around, the nurse I was following around was like, she just laughed and said, "You're a heartbreaker."
God. And you just go, if you were 50 years younger,
if you were 70
I
years
still
younger,
would not be into you because you'd have 30 years.
And you'd be racist.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But yeah.
God damn.
It was.
Look at you go.
Yeah. It was actually really fun. I really enjoyed it. Would I work in a memory unit? Hell no.
Oh, I'm sure. Dude.
Would I help once a year? Yeah.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah. It was a very good learning experience for somebody who, better knock on wood right now, for somebody who does not have any family members who are currently really having that problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, for some reason I thought someone was knocking at the door when you did it because I didn't see your hand.
It sounded like it too.
But yeah, it was a very good experience.
Well, as long as you have the experience, because that will be my demise.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for it.
Basically a guarantee.
Yeah, in 10 years.
Probably 2.5. I barely even remember what I wrote my notes on today.
Wait, are we recording a podcast?
Fuck.
What are we called?
I just say
Penis
my full
points?
name and social on
Yeah.
air.
And then I forget to edit it out.
No, D is my full name.
It is.
Like Dio.
You are the podcasting version of Dio. You heard it here first, folks. Now, if only people saw our face, I would Photoshop your face onto Dio's body and put it on the Instagram.
You could Photoshop Dio's face onto my body.
Onto your body.
You could, realistically speaking.
All right, I'm going to get a picture of you after this.
Not many people
have your
know
body
my
type.
body.
I know your body.
I know.
Deeper and more sensually than your girlfriend could ever.
Than I ever could.
Than you ever could.
Oh, shit. Well, good. I'm glad that it was a good experience. Because I feel like I would have fucking hated it.
Oh, no, it was pretty good.
I hate nursing homes.
I didn't get to... Well, this was a...
And I know that it's not a nursing home. It's
yeah, because those are pretty
facility.
horrible. This does, a little bit of everything. Without going into so much detail that I can dox myself, they do a very wide range of things, including hospice, memory, and like end of life care.
Nice.
But they do a lot more as well.
I just don't do old people.
Yeah, that's been the weird
Myself
part.
included. I hate old people and myself.
Yeah. Well, one of the patients in the memory unit was 41.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you about that. Ooh, very aggressive genetic dementia. Her sister had just passed away, just a couple years older than her. And I'm like, from it. I'm like,
Shit's
dang.
scary.
Check your genetics before you have kids.
Get your genetics in fucking
If your
check.
family has weird stories of people dying young every other generation, Google that shit.
Nah, goddamn. Luckily, I already know that I have bad genetics just by looking in a mirror.
Well,
so that's why I won't be having any kids.
I'm going to say, despite genetics, just the cholesterol alone would tell you enough.
Just anything, really.
Yeah.
Anything about me. It's like, probably shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, in this office, we have so much shared cholesterol that the room ends up being slightly greasier when we leave.
Yes, every time.
Every time we have to degrease it.
We actually have tile walls and a tile ceiling, and there's a hose. There's a little
hot
spigot
water,
right
hot
over
water
there
and soap.
that we just spray everything down before we start. So it's freshly clean, and then by the time we get out of here, it's dirtier than it was before we cleaned it.
That made me think of like a sauna. We should put a sauna in this room.
I don't think you would want us in a sauna in your home.
Oh, God.
Those three things in combination should be outside of anyone's home.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. You're going to build a shed.
Yeah,
And
I'm
gonna
down.
put
We've
I'm gonna
talked about
make
this.
just copper coils and attach them to a battery, and we'll splash water on them every once in a while.
Yeah, just spritz them.
Yeah.
You'll just sneeze on it every once in a
Yeah,
while.
perfect.
Steam up.
Ooh, a little steam room. I really want to do that though. I have zero money to do that.
It surprises me that it's legal that we can go into a gym and use their sauna.
We are a biological hazard.
Yeah, very much so. All right, so speaking of biological hazards,
Hold on, there was something else.
we're going to go back to the fall of 1943.
There wasn't anything else. I forgot it.
No worries, class of 89.
Yeah, it's my favorite mug.
So, the fall of 1943, the slums of Rome.
The slums of Vatican Rome.
Yeah, which doesn't sound like slums, but it definitely would be. Were starting to be invaded by the Nazis, which, honestly, when you think about it, is kind of odd, considering Italy was working alongside Germany, right? But there were a lot of Italian Jews. There were a lot of Jews in Italy.
You said 43?
Yeah, 1943. And they wanted them out, obviously. They're fucking terrible-ass Germans. So, as they're going through this Roman Catholic hospital, I'm going to butcher this. It's all in Italian, so bear with me. Fate bene fratelli.
Good enough.
It opened its doors to Jews seeking refuge. But it's hard to do that in the 1940s when Germany already has a presence in your country. You can't just, hey, all Jews seeking refuge, come on over here, because then they would just fucking bomb your hospital, right?
Yeah. Here, let me go on a slight tangent.
Yeah, go for it.
Give a little bit more background, because 1943 and the Germans are now only occupying Rome. It's because basically they've been outwardly supporting of the Nazis through Italy. Not necessarily saying, yeah, like, join us, but basically like, okay, we'll support you, but obviously we don't have a standing army. We're not going to really contribute to your war effort. But then Italy and the Allies, if you remember, in September 1943, you obviously know this, they reach an armistice.
Mm-hmm.
So armistice happens, Nazis go right into Rome.
Yeah.
Because the Romans were also... The Romans. Rome was also trying to secretly get basically a surrender truce with the Allies while still outwardly supporting the Nazis.
Yeah.
And the Nazis knew about it. They're like, these bitches are trying to get out. So we're going to go in there and crush them.
Like, I didn't realize it until I had read about this, that so many Italians did not like the Nazis. Which, yeah, you can say, oh, everyone hated the Nazis. But as what most people consider to be an Axis power, it would surprise you that most Italians were very open about how much they disliked Nazis and how much they did not want to work with them.
Yeah, it's like when there's a dictator, not necessarily everybody agrees with an iron-fisted dictator.
Despite the leader of that country agreeing with him.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
Yeah, really, though. So, this hospital is bringing people, well, they're bringing in Jews, and when you're bringing in Jews during an invasion, you can't really just, like I said, openly put up signs, hey, come here for help. So what would happen is some Jews would show up, and it was apparent that they were Jews. Like, they would speak, like, outwardly, hey, look, I just need a safe place. Like, we know that this hospital doesn't really like Nazi soldiers. Is there anything you can do for me? I mean, when you're being invaded, you're going to go anywhere.
Yeah, you're going to do anything you can.
So, Professor Borromeo and Dr. Sacadori, both...
Very good.
Thank you. Sacadotti, admitted Jewish patients under the guise of a thing called Syndrome K. So, Syndrome K itself was named after Kesserling, who was the commander over the Nazi troops invading Rome. And it was also named after Kepler, who was the commander of the he was the SS chief of police in Rome.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, and you know a little bit about him, right?
A little bit. Let's just say his KD was better than anybody on Xbox 360 and Modern Warfare 2. Like
1 to 350, I think.
No, it was something like that. So out of his first round, his first action as chief of police in Rome, of occupied police, was 1,023 of you Italian Jews would be sent directly to Auschwitz, of which 16 survived. He sent another, like his second wave was just under 1,993. But during that action, during the deportation, he also demanded 50 kilos of gold from the Jews, basically saying, if you give me what is for smooth brains, for stupid heads, 110 pounds of gold, then I'm not going to round you guys up. He got some gold, I think.
I can't imagine he got 110
No, he got some gold and then still
of course.
Deported them. And the Vatican didn't really like him for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you go into the Vatican views on him at all?
No, not so much, but I do know that at one point the Vatican did bring in, they harbored Jews. They actually paid for some of them to take shelter in the Vatican. However, Hitler's Pope, Pope Pius, like the fucking, I think he was like the 14th or something.
Was
yeah,
it 12th.
Not exactly the best dude on the planet.
Yeah.
He actually, recently they had like an 11-part fucking series come out that they're working on really breaking down and getting all the information on of how fucking terrible Pope Pius was with the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the Jews, I should say, because he spoke very outwardly against Jews.
So, interestingly enough, the direct conflict, the reason Kepler was like, fuck the Vatican, was because Kepler thought, oh, the Vatican is harboring these escaped prisoners and these allied fugitives that we're tracking down, which they probably were. I'm pretty sure they were.
And the Vatican was also hiring Jews as their guards.
Yeah, and he didn't like that because they were technically neutral.
Yeah.
So he was really pissed, and You see,
what neutral ground?
You see, Monsignor Hugh O'Flattery. Do you go into him at all?
No.
Okay, he was kind of like the yang to Kepler's yin, the balance, the adversary of him, because Hugh O'Flattery was very, very active in saving Jewish people, allies, basically anybody who didn't like the Nazis, he would help.
Well, that's good.
And
you wouldn't think that we would take a positive stance on Christianity on this show, but we are
for the
today.
first time.
Yeah.
He actually tried to get this guy assassinated multiple times.
Jesus.
Didn't work. And then after the war, Kepler eventually converted to Catholicism because the only person who visited him in prison
was his worst enemy.
O'Flattery.
That's amazing. Impressive.
It's crazy. Like, he was basically the only one who came to visit him regularly, and he would just come in and talk about literature and religion in like a philosophical way. Mm-hmm. And eventually he converted to Catholicism.
Jesus.
And yeah, it was fun. I also I've had a thought to just assemble a list of Nazis who survived the war, ended up in prison for their entire life, and then were diagnosed with terminal cancer, just because I think it's, somewhat fitting. Mm-hmm. He's one of them.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
So, they named, well, I shouldn't say they, a man by the name of Adriano Ossicini, I think. He kind of coined the Syndrome K term. So he was this like diehard Christian that actually believed in like the original idea of Christianity and Catholicism is that we are going to help people. No matter who they are, we're going to help. We're at a fucking hospital. We're going to help people. Now, this guy was actually, let's see, he was fleeing fascist Germany due to being really well known for being an anti-fascist, and spoke outwardly against it. So
that's a dangerous thing to do. Damn.
Big time.
I mean, during that time and now.
He fled Germany and he ended up in this hospital, but he was also using a false identity. So his real name may not have been Adriano. He could have been fucking anything else, but he had ties to organizations that would create false identities and shit. And so he was working under the guise of a different name. So overall, this hospital is just being run by an anti-Nazi campaign, which is phenomenal.
That's a good place
in
for it.
fucking Italy. Like, you wouldn't really think. What were you were smiling about?
I was laughing about how Kepler died, which, I try to be sensitive and, people are people and whatever. But, so he had the terminal cancer and he tried to get an appeal just to be released or something to his family, just because he was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
And the Italians were like, fuck you. No. So he did get transferred to a hospital for full-time care.
Please tell me it's the hospital that we were talking about.
It's not.
Damn
But
it.
his wife was a nurse.
Uh-huh.
So the people in the hospital were like, we don't want to help this old Nazi bitch, so you can. So basically she was just in and out doing a lot of the nursing care for him. And then she smuggled him out of the hospital in a suitcase.
Oh, God.
Because he had lost so much weight from the cancer. He only weighed 104 pounds.
So
she put him in a suitcase carried... He looked like a concentration camp victim.
Holocaust victim.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet justice.
And they flew in a suitcase to West Germany. Italy said, bring him back. And West Germany was like, he's gonna fucking die.
I'm surprised he didn't die on the flight. Yeah. Fuck.
So I just had this image of this old Nazi fuck who looks like a Holocaust victim in a suitcase.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably wearing his fucking SS uniform.
I'm sure.
Piece of shit.
They always do. That's my thing.
God.
Oh my God.
Just
Sorry.
fold it up.
I just started laughing.
Can you
That's
imagine how
the best thing.
fucking creaky your bones would be after being folded up in a fucking suitcase and flown to a different country? God damn.
It's amazing.
Jesus. So yeah, you've got these three guys that hate the Nazis running the hospital, and they've come up with a fake illness, basically. So, the Nazis were told that Syndrome K was more contagious than tuberculosis, but it had a lot of things in common with it. They were like, it's basically a more deadly tuberculosis, which, mind you, this is what tuberculosis was. It had its huge thing in 1919, right?
Oh, it has its huge thing through most of human history.
Yeah, really, though.
It fucks everybody.
God, it's fucking bonkers. So, a lot of these Nazis have lived through this time where tuberculosis was just fucking taking people left and right, and they're told it's worse than that. So much so that it gives these people convulsions and paralysis, which inevitably leads to death. So the Nazis are like, how badly do we want to fuck with this? So, at the time, this hospital and hospitals in the area, they would be forced to work with Nazis as they would come in. They would say, hey, we need to look at all of your medical records, and anyone that they deemed to be Jewish, they would just take from hospice care. They would go into the room, rip him out, and be like, cool, you don't have to worry about this guy anymore. He's out. And this hospital itself, all of their Jewish patients, they would list as Syndrome K patients. But they would also fix their records so that they didn't all look like they were Jewish. So that it wasn't like all of them are...
They took the Stein out of the last name.
They're not all Goldbergs that are in the Syndrome K ward. They're switching last names or twisting records around and shit, pulling out old ones and just changing the names. So, and even the ones that were Jewish, there were some that like would slip through the cracks. So like, we know that this guy's here. We know that he's in this Syndrome K ward. And they would just say, well, go for it. Like, take him out of there if you want. Mm-hmm. And the Nazis would show up expecting to leave with someone, and they would get to the doors of the ward and they would look through, and all of the people on the other side are fucking coughing a lung up. They're fucking shaking and shit. They got the black lung. They look sickly as hell. And the doctor says, hey, look, if you want to take them, go for it, but one person will infect an entire room of people. Like, it's bad news if you get them onto a train. Yeah,
good fucking luck.
Yeah, if you put them on a train with other people headed to a concentration camp, everyone on that train is going to be dead before you get there, including all of the officers on that train.
Yeah, and while that is mostly the goal, they like to keep some people around for slave labor.
Yeah, but on top of that, they're basically saying your officers are going to be dead. So in a lot of the cases, the Nazis would kind of just cut their losses. They'd be like, well, you know, they're going to die off. We'll just fucking leave them to a miserable death. So the doctors, more or less, were... I should say that they had a radio in their basement. And they had access to an Ally radio and access to an Axis radio. So...
very useful.
They would listen in on when Nazis were headed to the hospital. And when they knew that that was the case, they'd go upstairs and they'd show a little signal to Syndrome K room. But before any of that would even happen, the doctors had sat down with all of these Syndrome K patients, and they would tell them, okay, these are the main symptoms of tuberculosis, because if somebody calls us on bullshit, you guys can't just be sleeping in here.
Yeah.
So these doctors are like explaining to them and breaking down how they need to be coughing. They're showing them, okay, this is what it looks like if you're having actual convulsions. So this ward of like 24 people are all just learning how to mimic tuberculosis to the nth degree. And the Nazis are none the wiser because they're so afraid of potentially killing an officer, killing one of their own men. And they're just completely slipping by the wayside. Now, not all the doctors and the nurses in the hospital knew what Syndrome K really was. Some knew that it was a total guise, others didn't. So,
oh my God, so unprofessional.
Cut it. We'll cut it in post.
Yeah.
So some of them would go in, like, just totally fucking head to toe, sanitary, just need to be as careful as possible when treating these guys. But they were told, yeah, there's not really a treatment for it. There's not much we can do.
It's new. Like, we don't know enough about it.
Yeah. So we'll just leave it and kind of keep testing on it. Only these select people can work with these people, which would be the ones that knew what Syndrome K actually was. And, I mean, obviously, it's a huge fucking worry that you're going to get found out. Like, you're worried that one person... Because... with how scary the Nazi regime was, you would worry, like, oh, one person could really fucking destroy this whole operation, which could happen. But it didn't. Nobody reported anything. Nothing crazy went down. And they basically got away with it. The only thing is, because... So... the entire operation basically, well, not operation, but Syndrome K basically slid under the doormat of history for like 60 years, right? So it wasn't until like mid to early 2000s that they found out it even really happened. Two of the doctors, I think, were still alive in the late 2000s and were able to actually give interviews on it. One of them died, but because they're like fucking 98 years old at this point, they don't really, like, they don't recall things specifically. They weren't really able to explain whether they saved 20 people or 800 people. They're like, we just know that we had people coming in and out constantly. The ward was big enough to hold 24 people. So what was happening is they would come in, so Jews would come in, they would slip under the radar, and because they would get a different name on their medical records, sometimes that was the false identity. And so their fucking medical record is marked with Syndrome K, but it's not like they have medical records that go across all fucking hospitals in the world. Like, it's one file in one hospital, and the hospital knows what the fuck they're doing, so they're not contacting the next one and saying, oh, hey, this guy's got Syndrome K. So these people would leave with different identities, effectively sending them off to freedom.
Yeah, it's like laundering money, but you're doing it with your Jewish background.
Yeah.
It creates a trail of documents to say, oh, no, I'm not. This is my name. This is where it's proven at this hospital.
Yeah, and your medical record is the start of those documents. And it's like, you can tie it back to fucking anything else and go, okay, well, we can issue this other bullshit, but we now have an identity here that we can base everything off of, which is your medical record.
And here you go. Now you're not...
And this is an idea that Adriano had proposed because he already knew people that could fabricate and make documents for different people. So not only did he come in just to, like, say fuck fascism, he came in to also help these people get a new life and get them to safety.
Yeah, and I love it because this isn't the only example of something like this happening. Like,
yeah.
A lot of people had these really great and unique ideas where they used the Germans' fear of tuberculosis or other diseases, which is ironically a genetic thing.
Really?
That they were just able to play on the fear of the Nazis to make it so that they didn't look too close. Mm-hmm. And how smart.
Like, fucking clever crazy as hell. So Adriano Ossicini was actually picked up one day And
by a Nazi?
Yep, he was picked up by Nazis. They took him over to this area where they had a bunch of other people. They have him lined up, and they're going through photos saying, like, okay, is this who we're actually looking for? Is this who we're looking for? And this is while he's working at the hospital. And so he's towards, like, the end of the line, and he's watching these SS officers go over everything. Oh, is this the guy? Is this the guy? And he thinks, I'm either just going to stand here and get taken, or I can just run, and if they shoot me in the street, I get shot in the street, whatever. So while they're going over these people, he just turns and runs off.
Amazing.
And they don't fucking see anything because they're too busy looking at all these other people, comparing whether it's the right person they're looking for. He escapes, and he makes it to the hospital and says, hey, SS officers are probably going to be headed this way. So get ready to put on the fucking tuberculosis show of a lifetime.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because I read a lot about it. Well, not a lot about it, but everything that I was reading, people were basically saying, like, oh yeah, like they only saved 20 Jews, we'll say, at the bottom end of what they could have saved. They only saved 20 Jews. I'm like, that's 20 people that they saved. That's 20 more than someone else could have saved. It's 20 more than they would have saved if they hadn't made up this fucking fake syndrome. And it's astounding how easily and how willing they were to do it for people of just a completely different religion. Obviously, like, yeah, all these guys aren't Catholic, but you're working at a Roman Catholic hospital in Rome.
Yeah.
Most of the people are going to be Catholic there. And it's just it's reassuring to see that Christians did something right.
For once. No, Catholics.
Catholics, sorry.
For once in their life.
Wouldn't they still be Christian, though?
I think they consider themselves separate.
Oh, I don't know.
Look it up right now. I'm still trying to find the episode I swear I did about the other medical doctor
yeah, I was looking
avoidance.
through it and I couldn't find it.
I know I've done it. I talked about the two doctors who figured out how to fake like a tuberculosis test.
I mean, we can talk about it real quick.
But I know I did it.
It does sound familiar, but I don't really have the best memory, so...
You normally have an encyclopedic memory...
Of our episodes?
Of our episodes.
I know, I don't know why I can't.
What's your problem? Like...
I'm not recalling it.
I know I did an episode on it.
Roman Catholicism is the largest of the three major branches of Christianity.
Oh, okay. I had it flipped the other way.
All Roman Catholics are Christian, but not all Christians are Roman Catholic.
It's like how Mormons call them Christians, but other Christians don't call Mormons Christian.
Yeah, no, because they're not.
Because they're fucking not salamander-ass motherfuckers.
But yeah, so we can talk about it really quickly.
Okay, but please tell me...
What
fucking episode that was?
I don't know.
If you recall,
if you remember and you message us what episode...
I'll send you a sticker.
Yeah, we'll send you a sticker. So, I don't remember his name.
Eugene something.
Eugene
Lavovich.
Yeah, Eugene.
So basically there were two doctors in two small villages, I think in occupied Poland. And they fabricated an entire pandemic. I think it was either tuberculosis.
Eugene Lazowski.
Yeah, it was like tuberculosis or typhus.
Typhus.
Yeah.
It's typhus.
And they basically figured out how to fake the test. And since the Germans were so afraid of it, they never looked too close. I know I've talked about it.
So what it was is they found out that a certain strain of typhus could be you could get a vaccine against it. And if you had your vaccine against it, you would be fine. So
no, it wasn't a vaccine.
No. If you already had your vaccine, you were good. But if they gave you a shot of this stuff, then you would test positive for typhus. You would show a positive test for it. It wouldn't actually give you typhus because the current strain of fucking typhus it tested
it tested for the antibodies, and it would basically stimulate an antibody response but not one big enough to show any symptoms.
Yeah, enough to show a positive test result. So he was sending these fucking, like, he was sending this out to everybody. Like,
well, no, they had to keep it under the radar.
8,000 people ended up, like, with this strain.
Well, in the region that he was protecting had like 8,000 people in it.
Yeah.
They didn't test all 8,000 people because it was a very expensive test. They even had like Nazi groups come to the area to test them, and they distracted them by showing them a house full of people with pneumonia. And they were coughing so hard that they were kind of like, ew, I don't really want to look at them. And they were also distracted because in the other part of the town, they threw a feast in their honor. So they were like, ooh, I don't want to be with these sickos. I'm just going to like poke my head in. Okay, cool. Now let's get drunk, Hans.
Jesus.
And yeah, it was him or the other doctor who worked for the resistance, the Polish resistance.
Yeah, he was a Polish Army second lieutenant on the Red Cross train.
Yeah,
and then is a military doctor of the Polish Resistance Home Army. This is just on Wikipedia.
They had I remember talking about their symbol, which was like a rag on his back fence. I remember talking about his wife, who almost died during childbirth, where she revealed that she was actually the contact that he had been working with through the Polish resistance.
It's fucking wild.
But I can't find the episode. I'm scrolling through it right now.
None of it sounds really all that familiar.
Like, I'm going through all of my episodes. I know I talked about it.
But regardless, the ability to just, like...
fuck with them?
fuck with the Nazis just to save people. And I mean, that false epidemic itself saved 8,000 people from...
oppression in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it basically kept the Nazis out of the entire region for pretty much the entire war.
Yeah, because the Germans quarantined the area because they deemed it completely unsafe.
Yeah, they basically said, this is an epidemic.
Yeah, God, like, why the fuck would they want typhus? Like,
yeah.
You spread that shit, it's done.
This is driving me insane.
The town of Roswitha? I don't know. Rosvidov. I don't know. But it's good.
Please.
I did it. I said it right.
You did.
All 3 times.
Please tell me that I did talk about this.
I don't know if you did. It doesn't sound familiar.
I know I have. Like, where else would I have looked this up just for fun?
And if you didn't talk about it, then you have now.
No, because I remember sitting in this chair talking about it, but I can't find the notes. But I also just very recently switched to a new program for my notes.
Hey, no worries.
I'm going to Google Docs. Maybe I did it there. I'm seriously going insane.
I think you are, because I was sitting there and I messaged JJ and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it on these 2 guys in Eugene Lazowski, and he goes, no, wait. And he calls me, and he's all, I already did an episode on that. My wife said that she knows what I'm talking about. I'm like, well,
she does.
You, of course, would fucking tell her of anything that you've discovered. Like, you would talk about it.
That's fake news.
Sorry, I forget you don't talk to your wife.
Yeah, exactly. My bitch of a wife.
God, dude.
You're not a bitch. Don't hurt me.
No, not at all. Hurt him.
Actually, hurt me. I'm sorry.
But,
I swear to Christ...
But yeah, I pulled back. I didn't research anything more on it because I was like, oh yeah, I'll just... If he's already talked about it...
I've talked about it.
I'll take your word for it, you fucking liar.
I've fucking talked about it.
No worries, it's all good.
I'm going to find it. No, I'm finding it right now. I'm not going to let you...
Give someone the chance to earn a sticker, for God's sakes. Lord knows we have enough of them. Also, we're going to get those other ones sent out to you guys soon.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to do that today.
We were both supposed to do that today.
Oh yeah, and then you didn't show up till 10:30.
Yeah.
We're getting those sent out this week.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We'll get them sent out. But yeah, so I know it's a short episode today, but appreciate you tuning in. I will be doing Patreon today as AJ furiously scours through his previous notes. Let's see. Huge thank you to... we have a new comrade to add to the list.
We've actually got a new chairperson and a new comrade.
We got another new chairperson?
Oh, no, same one. I'm just still excited.
It's like, oh my God.
I'm still excited, okay?
I'm going to butcher this, so
What?
don't hurt me.
No, I'll just
Actually,
say,
you get it, now that you have it up.
What the hell's your problem? Do you want me to start with the chairperson?
Oh shit, I just closed it.
Oh my God. Well, I appreciate you at least, Nordic Thunder and Mini D Donnell. I can't speak for what I thought was my comrade.
Oh God.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. We've got new comrade right here, Lara Revo. It's not that difficult.
Yes.
Sound it out.
I just didn't want to say like Lara Revo or whatever.
No,
say it wrong.
obviously it's a Revo. It's French. Duh.
Well, now I know.
All right, so thanks for hopping on the bandwagon.
I'm slightly afraid of her, so I don't want to fucking say things
fucking
wrong.
Should be.
That's why I didn't say it.
And Abby, of course, AJ's third nut, Lindo, D's nuts, Nordic Thunder, Toddle Waddle, Dark Runner, Haley, and Casey McFacey. Because of you guys, I now have to scroll when reading that list. So thank you.
We've finally done it.
Oh,
It is much appreciated. Your guys'
It really
help
is.
It is helping astronomically with our growth. You have no idea. So, yeah, keep it up. And as always, if you have any suggestions for TV, movies, books, music, movies,
books, TV, movies,
music and TV,
movies,
or show ideas, or
music,
articles, or whatever, anything
TV.
you find that you like, send it our way. We love hearing from you guys. Reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter at Points of Pressure if you ever need anybody to talk to for anything at all. And we'll catch you guys next Monday.
We'll see you then.